Sooner recruiting and football news with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000 or text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
All right. The University of Oklahoma is 4-0 to kick off the football season in the year of our Lord 2025. 24-17, the final on Saturday at Owen Field as the Sooners dispatch Auburn and spoil Jackson Arnold's return. Look, we talk a lot of recruiting on this show. We're going to talk a lot of recruiting as we unwind here over the next hour. But it is standard practice that the Monday following a game, we're going to spend the first segment talking about the game. So, Grayson Singleton, let's talk about this football game for a little bit. Obviously, for those that want to chime in, 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. The show brought to you by Dorsey Jones GMC out in El Reno. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, why not a GMC? GMC offers some of the most reliable trucks and SUVs on the road today, so check out Dorsey Jones if you're looking for a new ride. The thing that's gotten the most run, no doubt, is the controversial trick play. In which the Sooners kind of hide Isaiah Satania on the sideline. And all of a sudden, he pops out of nowhere, and he's wide open in the end zone, and John Mateer flings him the easiest touchdown catch he's ever going to have in his life.
Yep.
And, boy, that has been a very polarizing point of discussion, Grayson. And, look, all of that aside, I mean, we could talk for hours about that and that alone. But to me, the greater storyline in this football game, coming out of this football game, the greater storylines, I should say, because they're twofold. One, Jackson Arnold very much helped Oklahoma to win that football game. Jackson Arnold's inability to hit Cam Coleman on a deep ball in stride enabled Oklahoma, in part, to win that football game. But also, this team made crucial plays in crucial moments on both sides of the ball. You saw the killer instinct from the Oklahoma offense, and you saw the killer instinct from the Oklahoma defense. I don't know why this game sticks out to me, but I want to rewind to 2022, when the Brent Venables era was still in its infancy. In 2022, by November, I would say, you had absolutely no faith that this program was going to close it out in the fourth quarter of a football game. They trailed 38-35 to Baylor in the closing minutes. Needed a defensive stop. Or no, it was at 31-28 they traded Baylor. Needed a defensive stop in order to put themselves in position to go back down the field on offense and tie or win the game. What happens? Some guy by the name of Squirrel Williams saunters into the end zone for a 50-yard touchdown, and it's ball game. All Oklahoma needs is one stop to get the ball back and have a chance to march down the field for the game-winning drive in Morgantown against Garrett Green in West Virginia. And Garrett Green in West Virginia milk the entire clock and then kick a chip shot field goal with no time remaining to win. 23-20. In Lubbock, Texas, they lead 24-6 in the first half, only to watch that lead crumble and eventually fall in double overtime to the Red Raiders in what will be their last trip to Lubbock for the foreseeable future, thank the Lord. In 2022, when this experiment began at the University of Oklahoma, no one should have or did have any faith that Oklahoma could go win a football game in the fourth quarter. And Grayson, we've now seen it multiple times here in 2025, and I don't think there's a greater example. I don't think there's a game that illustrates more how far this program has come since the beginning than this game on Saturday. Because when you had to have it, John Mateer took this offense straight down the field in 6 plays for a go-ahead touchdown. And then Oklahoma's vaunted defensive line slammed the door shut when it was time to slam the door shut.
You saw in this game why Oklahoma could win a playoff game, and you also saw in this game why Oklahoma could be on the outside looking in of a college football playoff. You saw both sides of it. Because on the John Mateer front, well, let's address that first. On the John Mateer front, you saw a dude who is clutch, who is going to be one of the more clutch quarterbacks in college football. You also saw how John Mateer's flaws, his inaccuracies, his accuracy can come and go at times. And you saw how that could keep another team in the game. It was interesting with this game because one of the things we talked about leading into the season was that because of the addition of John Mateer and because of the addition of Ben Arbuckle, the offense was going to take a lot of pressure off the defense, and the defense was going to have more margin for error to let up more points because the offense could go out there and score a bunch of points. I'm here to tell you, coming out of that game, I thought, boy, if that defense was not excellent, I don't know if Oklahoma wins that football game. But the corner that you turned there is that you now have a quarterback that can go out there, and as long as the game is in the balance, you feel good that he can go ahead and take it for you, and that's what John Mateer did. Interestingly enough, and I have no idea how much time you and Steely spent talking about Jackson Arnold, but I thought he was okay. I thought he looked fine. But what ultimately got him in trouble was the fact that, turning this back to Oklahoma, if there wasn't a receiver that was wide open, he wasn't throwing the ball. And why do I bring that up? Because the secondary in terms of coverage last season was not good. Boy, were they good today. You look at the Cam Coleman balls that he caught. Where was Cortland Guillory? Cortland Guillory was there. He was right there. He just got mossed by a dude who's 6'4", 210, 215 pounds. But Cortland Guillory was there. Gentry Williams, I thought, was very good in the game. So a lot of the things that hindered you in yesteryear, 2024, came up big for you in this game. So you saw how this team has turned a corner and could win a playoff game. But at the same time, especially in that first half, you saw reason for, okay, why this team could not even get to the college football playoff. In the end, it's a typical SEC game. Whoever made the most plays at the end of the game was going to win the game. And Jackson Arnold did not make those plays, and John Mateer did.
I mean, boy, there were three instances where Cam Coleman's behind the defense, and if he gets the ball delivered in stride, he is gone, walking into the end zone for a long Auburn touchdown. I mean, he cooked Davon Jordan on a double move down the right sideline.
Can I stop you right there? How many times are they going to keep running Davon Jordan out there?
I mean, look, I don't think
that dude gets cooked like almost at least once every game.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there's reason to believe more in Gentry Williams and Cortland Guillory than there is in Davon Jordan right now. I don't think Davon Jordan's a bad player. I think it's just, hey, Cam Coleman's really freaking good.
He is really good.
If we learned nothing else on Saturday, Oklahoma fans all saw and all walked away thinking that Cam Coleman is a freak of nature who's going to be a very high draft pick. Man, he's running wide open into the end zone, and the ball doesn't even have to be on target. If it's underthrown, it can be underthrown by 5 yards. Cam Coleman, just based on the physical advantages that he has over Davon Jordan, is going up and catching that ball for a touchdown. Jackson Arnold throws it 6 inches beyond him. And what could have been a touchdown for Auburn vanishes into thin air. And it was not the only time that happened. And so, look, Jackson Arnold battled. To his credit, I think he did actually play better than I expected him to. But he was a big part of the reason why Oklahoma won this football game.
Yeah.
Because if he puts those throws on the money, the entire complexity of the game changes.
Yeah. I think I came out at halftime. Through the first 2 quarters, he was the better quarterback. Jackson Arnold was. John Mateer only hit on half of his throws in the first half.
But then what happened down the stretch? John Mateer caught fire. 16 of his final 17.
Outstanding.
Leads that final scoring drive in just over 2 minutes. 6 plays, 75 yards, caps it off with a 9-yard touchdown run. And the play that preceded it, that throw down the right sideline, the far sideline to Isaiah Satania, gorgeous.
Beautiful throw.
Gorgeous. Maybe John Mateer's best throw of the year, and he's had some good ones. Hello. That right there in that moment, that's why you brought in John Mateer. You brought in John Mateer because you have faith he's going to execute in moments and situations like that. I don't think that faith existed last year with the guy that was under center. I don't think Oklahoma had genuine confidence, for instance, in a tie ball game in the final minute in Columbia, Missouri, that they were going to be able to go down the field and score. I don't know how you felt in that moment, Grayson, but in my mind, I had a pretty level head when Oklahoma went down 17-16. I'm thinking, all right.
Oh, yeah.
It's John Mateer's time. And boy, it was even more effortless than I expected it to be. 4 big boy throws, 2 big boy runs, you're in the end zone. And from there, you just let our Mason Thomas do our Mason Thomas things. Let this OU defensive line do what they've been doing all season. And, man, the scary thing to think about with this defense, too, is they haven't forced a turnover yet. They're the only FBS team that hasn't forced a turnover through 4 games. And they're still, by most metrics, the best defense in the country by a long shot. How good will this defense be? How good can this defense be when the turnovers start to come? And they will start to come. This drought is an aberration. It's fundamentally unsustainable. Once Oklahoma does start forcing turnovers, oh boy.
But at what point, here's my question with that, though. At what point do we stop saying once the turnovers come? I talked about this 2 weeks ago, leading up to the Temple game. You had a Temple team that liked to throw the ball around. You've got a turnover prone from last year, Jackson Arnold. Then you've got a Kent State game, and then you've got Arch Manning against Texas in the Red River game. If you're not forcing turnovers by that point, and we're halfway through that 4-game stretch right now, at what point do we start thinking, okay, this defense is going to be wholly reliant on making sure you don't go anywhere because they can't take the ball away? I think that does start to, and look, because they're not letting guys go anywhere, and still the bulk of your schedule in terms of your best offensive teams you're going to go up against is still ahead of you. But at some point, you got to start forcing turnovers because the numbers don't lie. Of the 12 teams that made the college football playoff last year, only 2 had a negative turnover differential.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. But again, a turnover drought by nature is unsustainable if you're playing good defense. And Oklahoma is playing good defense.
Yes.
And they should have had 2 turnovers on Saturday. Peyton Bowen dropped a pick. Kendall Daniels dropped a pick. Mm-hmm. They're going to have the opportunities. They just have to convert them. And I trust that they will. Now, game balls Saturday, John Mateer obviously gets one.
Yeah.
He was the architect, the orchestrator of that final drive. R. Mason Thomas certainly gets one. He only played a half, but boy, you felt him. Game ball to Jaden Jackson. Hell, game ball to the whole Oklahoma defensive line. They dominated that football game. Game ball to Isaiah Satania, who had the best game of his collegiate career. A career-high 9 catches for a career-high 127 yards. And a game ball as well to Grayson Miller. I don't know what in the, like, this is a guy, Grayson, you share a name with him.
I
How
do.
fun is that? But this is a guy that, I mean, his arrival to Oklahoma came with zero fanfare whatsoever. I mean, he was a backup punter.
Mm-hmm.
A backup punter. You pay attention to the addition of a backup punter? Not generally. And Grayson Miller wasn't supposed to be the guy out there punting for Oklahoma. That was supposed to be Jacob Ulrich. Instead, Jacob Ulrich tweaks a hamstring going into the Michigan game. The Sooners have to turn to Grayson Miller. And guess what, Grayson? Jacob Ulrich ain't getting his job back anytime soon because all Grayson Miller has done is average 51 yards a punt across 13 boots thus far, including a long of 66, which was a gorgeous punt on Saturday, by the way.
You talk about buying the offense time to get its act together in the second half. The defense did not do that alone. Grayson Miller certainly did, too. Remember the one punt that was completely misjudged by the Auburn returner, and he caught it at the 1.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you got to give Grayson Miller credit for that, too. And, you know, that could have taken a hop and gone out of bounds. So, Grayson Miller, and one of the differences about this Oklahoma team than in the past is this. Their special teams is an asset.
It is.
They don't win that game without their special teams.
And we were concerned it was still a little shaky after the Michigan game.
Yes, we were.
But Tate Sandell has answered the bell since then.
50-yard field goal, and then Grayson Miller is tilting field position. Better than most people in the country right now.
And you may wonder, why are we talking about the punter? Because special teams matters, folks. And if you've watched the last 5 years of Oklahoma football, you understand that special teams matters. And Oklahoma's special teams units are performing well right now, and it's contributing to winning football. Last thing I'll say is this, before we turn the page to recruiting in the next segment. This is an exhortation I want to offer to everyone. I know the social media discourse throughout the week leading up to the game and certainly in the aftermath of the game has been quite toxic between Oklahoma fans and Auburn fans. Please, folks, do your best to get out of the social media bubble. Because social media brings out the absolute worst in people. And I know we've received texts and feedback throughout the day from folks that had in-person interactions with Auburn fans on Saturday before, during, and after the game. And to a man, they've all said those folks were incredibly pleasant people to be around. And generally, that's going to be the case, right? You're not going to bump into a fan in an opposing jersey, whether you're at their place or they're at yours, and hear, well, y'all suck, and y'all are a bunch of hillbillies. That's not something somebody says face to face. You'll see that all over social media. However, anybody who made the trip to the Plains last year and got the chance to spend that game day in Auburn, Alabama, knows that the Auburn fan base is actually awesome. So for those of you who are taking it to Twitter and Twitter fingering out messages that say, Auburn fans suck, this is the worst fan base I've ever dealt with, please don't form that opinion based on what you see on social media. Interact face-to-face with opposing fans. It'll do you some good. And ultimately, I think what you'll find is that you have a lot of common ground with those folks and that you can leave your differences as individuals on the field on Saturdays. Whatever happens in the game, you will still be able to share in the common experience of humanity with opposing fans. Like, it's not quite as bad on college football Twitter as it is on political Twitter. I mean, that's where you get the absolute, you get the worst of people on political Twitter.
I don't know, man, because I was keeping up with the text line when Daria was going on that rant earlier today, and boy, was that something.
Oh, man. I look, great example of this. I don't know who Grayson voted for in the last election. I don't know who Connor Pasby voted for in the last election. If I did know, it wouldn't change my opinion of them as human beings. Because I see them every day in the office. We're friends. We get along. Whatever political party they're associated with or whatever candidate they voted for, not going to change my feelings on them as human beings. And generally, if you work in an office, you work around other people, odds are you probably don't know who those people voted for or which political party they support or what beliefs they hold, and you don't really care because you have an actual face-to-face human relationship with them. The same is true when you're dealing with fans of other college football teams, folks. Odds are you have a lot more in common with them than you do differences with them. So, I know Kent State fans probably not going to travel that well to Oklahoma. I don't expect you to get along with Texas fans. That is the one where, understandably, there's going to be some vitriol. But hey, like when Oklahoma goes out to Columbia, South Carolina, if you're making that trip, shake some hands, exchange some pleasantries with some Gamecock fans. I think what you'll find is that it's overall a positive experience. Texas fans aside, get to know the opposition.
You know, I tell you, I did feel vindicated by Dari earlier today when he was expressing his disgust for the fact that we still have a Kent State game coming up. I'm just glad I'm not the only one on this station that is absolutely annoyed by the fact that we have to go from talking about a great Auburn game to that.
Reformed Homer says, most of all the in-person experiences I've had are nothing like online dialogue. Amen, folks. Let's not lose the capacity to interact face-to-face. I know we live in a digital world, and it's 2025. It's way easier to engage in conversations behind a phone screen than it is face-to-face, but let's not lose the art of interpersonal connection. With that, let's take a break. Quick word from some of our sponsors here. On the Ref, the home of Sooner fans, and on the other side, we will discuss the recruiting ramifications of another triumphant Saturday at Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. Keep it right here, and we shall return. You're listening to the Ref.
The word is spreading, and the Ref Army is growing. Keep telling your friends and family that there's only one station for true Sooner fans, and that's the Ref Radio Sports Network, and worldwide on the KREF app.
This is Mark Van Hoos, owner of Van Hoos Fence. Van Hoos Fence has years of experience and proven superior performance, kind of like a certain head ball coach.
We know Van Hoos Fence offers the best value and service for your residential, commercial, or sports fencing needs. Whether it's a new install or repair work, let Mark and his team at Van Hoos Fence be your trusted resource.
Call us today at 405-735-1167.
Save yourself from Googling it up. Go to vhfence.com. They will work with you in a great way.
We all play a role in keeping our communities safe. Oklahoma is no stranger to attacks. It's now easier than ever. If you see something, say something. The free and anonymous Protect OK app allows instant reporting of suspicious activity, both in schools and the community. You can help keep your family and friends safe.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Download the Protect OK app today in the Apple app or Google Play stores. Funded by the Oklahoma Office of Homeland Security.
Beat the heat at Hey Pickle Pickle, Heyday Entertainment's brand new pickleball facility. With 5 indoor courts, Oklahoma summer won't be able to stop you from getting your game on. Learn more at heypicklefun.com, and remember, drink responsibly.
Friday night lights can bring Saturday morning pains. That's why Ortho Central offers a Saturday injury clinic for high school athletes every Saturday from 8 to 9:30 a.m. Open September through November. Get a free initial evaluation of sports injuries at our Norman or Midwest City locations. No appointment needed. When the hits keep coming, don't play hurt. Ortho Central is your team to turn setbacks into comebacks. Learn more at orthocentralok.com.
Hi, folks. This is Larry Knippelmeyer here at Knippelmeyer Chevrolet in Blanchard, USA. Conveniently located just 15 minutes south of Oklahoma City and 10 minutes west of Norman. With all the talk of inflation, market crashes, and tariffs, it's no wonder we're all afraid to make that new vehicle purchase. Now, with that being said, there will probably never be a better time to purchase your new Chevrolet at Knippelmeyer Chevrolet. No price increase or tariffs on our huge selection of in-stock vehicles. Pickups, SUVs, cars, and even Corvettes, all marked down and ready to sell. Interest rates are good, used vehicle trade-ins are high, and rebates and incentives are back on most new Chevrolets. So hop in that old vehicle and come see us at Knippelmeyer Chevrolet in Blanchard, where nobody beats our deal. Or give us a call at 405-485-3333 or catch us on the web at knippelmeyer.com. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Thinking of buying, selling, or building a home? I'm Mariah Calhour, broker and owner of Calhour Group Realty. With more than 1,700 homes sold over the past 13 years, I know what it takes to get the job done. My team and I are based in Norman, but we proudly serve the metro and surrounding areas, and we are available around the clock. Calhour Group Realty, proven experience, ready when you are. Call me at 405-308-0109.
CallBrianSmith.com is your 24/7 access to the best car and home insurance in Oklahoma. We specialize in making the process simple, fast, and affordable while still keeping that trusted local touch. Ready to save money on your coverage needs? Call BrianSmith.com at 918-481-7283 or visit us on Facebook and tune into our podcast, Get Canceled, on iTunes or Spotify. Call BrianSmith.com, your easy button for insurance in Oklahoma.
Summer just got better with Heyday Entertainment. Join us for bowling, mini golf, laser tag, and so much more. And check out Hey Pickle Pickle, our brand new pickleball facility. Learn more at heydayfun.com. Heyday, where you choose your fun.
It is locked in here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Parker Thune, Grayson, Singleton. Before we dish on some recruiting here, several texters, a wealth of texters, have taken to the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439 to share their positive experiences in person, face-to-face, with Auburn fans on Saturday. A 405 listener says, my wife and I were talking to some Auburn fans at the pregame Saturday. They were the nicest fans ever. They said they have been to every SEC stadium, and OU fans are by far the best fans. Tulsa Boomer says, I've been a season ticket holder for 29 years, and with the exception of some old Big 12 foes, all the fans I've talked to in Norman have been great. A 402 listener from my homeland says, drove down from Omaha. Had Auburn fans in front and back of us. They were great. Hope to make it to the Plains next time the Sooners visit. Boomer. LaDonna from Lubbock adds, I sat in front of 2 drunk Auburn college kids, and they were awesome.
Speaking of fans, can we say this real quick? I don't know if there's any OU students listening, and what I'm about to say applies to a very, very small minority. Can y'all stop throwing beer cans everywhere? So I was in the student section. The amount of beer cans the amount of beer that was splashed on me. Stop throwing things. You are not 10 years old.
Here's the thing,
you
man.
look low class.
Oh.
Like, stop.
And this is part of the reason why I'm not going to address all the chants that were thrown Jackson Arnold's way from the student section.
I didn't really have a problem with that.
Yeah, hey, look, college students are going to be college students. You can't really regulate that. You just kind of got to understand they're going to do what they're going to do.
Who was the first person to be like, let me throw this beer can and see if it won't hit anybody? Like, you look like an idiot.
Do you know who threw it, though?
No, I don't.
Do you look like an idiot if nobody knows you threw it?
Okay, this is a fair point. This is true.
Oh, man. Okay, let's talk recruiting. We got a trio of Fong bombs to discuss. None of them particularly shocking. But, hey, Steve Wiltfong, director of recruiting at Rivals, entered 3 predictions today in favor of Oklahoma. One, we've talked about pretty extensively on these airwaves. It does look like Oklahoma's going to flip, or I shouldn't say flip, 4-star linebacker Jacob Curry. He has decommitted from Northwestern. He is uncommitted as we sit here today. It does look like Oklahoma's going to land Jacob Curry. They've been the favorite to get that one done for quite some time. The needle moved even further in OU's direction coming out of this official visit. Feel great about Oklahoma's chances there.
Surprise level 0. None whatsoever. I mean, you look at the timeline between the Oklahoma offer and the decommitment from Northwestern, makes perfect sense.
The second prediction, and this one was a little bit more surprising to me. So we've talked about the reality of not only this particular recruitment, but OU's past history recruiting this particular school. Steve decided, you know what, I'm going to pick Oklahoma for Caden Penny. From Bigsby, Oklahoma. Number 34 overall player in the nation, according to Rivals. He's listed as an offensive tackle. I expect that he's going to play guard at the next level. He's not tall enough to play tackle, which is fine. He's going to be a really good guard. But could this be what gets Oklahoma over the hump in Bigsby? Could they land Caden Penny? Things look pretty good at the moment. No doubt about it. He didn't make it to the game Saturday. He was expected to. Didn't make it. But the Sooners appear to primarily be battling Ohio State in that recruitment. That is the word. It's OU and it's Ohio State. The third prediction. This one was maybe the most surprising of the 3, although it isn't completely out of left field if you've been following this kid's recruitment. Jackson Roper, 4-star interior offensive lineman from the state of Colorado, pegged to Oklahoma by Steve. The Sooners have an offensive line commit in the 2026 cycle from Colorado and Deacon Schmidt. And they appear to be the lead dog as of now for Roper in the 2027 class. Now, I don't get the sense that anything is imminently close here as far as a decision from Roper and Penny. Obviously, it's not going to be all that long till Jacob Curry makes the decision because he's going to have to make the decision here in the next couple of months. He's going to be signing in December. I don't get the sense that anything is imminently close to going down with Caden Penny and Jackson Roper, but OU does objectively sit in a really good position there. And they already have one offensive line commit in the 27 cycle in Luke Wilson. Were they to land Penny and were they to land Roper, this can become a very robust class in the offensive trenches for Beatonbow in 27.
Yeah, no doubt. And Roper's a really good player. I will focus on Caden Penny, who is somebody I've seen in person multiple times.
Yeah.
The fact that he has added considerable size in terms of mass, I think is huge because to me it tells me about him. He knows he's going to be a guard at the next level. And the fact that he has gotten that much heftier to where he will be able to slide in at guard pretty easily, I think is just a great long-term execution of making sure I get my body right for the next level. He is going to be an excellent guard. He really is. Excellent foot speed. He's very quick, mobile, moves very well, can be a great puller, all those sorts of things. The only thing really is that you ask why he's not going to play tackle. He's not tall enough and his arms aren't long enough to play tackle. He's going to be an excellent, excellent guard. And to me, the fact that it's already being pegged that, okay, I think Oklahoma's going to get this one done means we can start to feel a lot better about the Sooners as it pertains to getting their in-state kids. We talked about this last week. When you look at the 2027 class, there is a litany of OU-worthy people out of the state of Oklahoma in this class. Titus Hawk, tight end Choctaw, Gabe Osborne, corner Mustang, Caden Penny, who we've talked about, Samaj Stanford, safety at Broken Arrow. There are excellent prospects out of the state of Oklahoma, and if you can get on board with one, that opens the floodgates for all the others.
A 918 listener says, here you go again. You said the same thing about the quarterback that ended up at LSU. Said what? That Oklahoma was in a really good spot with Peyton Houston? Because they were. Again, some folks are just not equipped to follow recruiting. Things change in recruiting. You're dealing with 17-year-old kids who inevitably have a bunch of money dangled in front of them by at least one school, if not multiple, throughout the process. So things change. Do we know for a fact that Caden Penny and Jackson Roper are going to wind up in OU's 2027 class? No, we don't know that for a fact. But as of right now, as we sit here today, Oklahoma's in a good place with each of those two. And I would consider them the leader in their respective recruitments. Chris from Knoxville wants to know, what's the word on Case Alexander? I love Case Alexander, man. That dude can be a really good linebacker at the next level. If you're not familiar with him, well, for one thing, he was at the game Saturday, once again. 4-star linebacker out of Washington, Oklahoma. And again, I don't think anything is imminently close. I don't think a decision is imminently close there. But I would say Oklahoma does lead right now for Case Alexander. He's had some great experiences on campus. He's got a really strong bond with the staff. If you're an Oklahoma fan and you want to see Case Alexander in the 27 class, feel good about where things are at right now in that one. I'm waiting, man. I'm waiting for Oklahoma to make a move on Creed Barrett in the 28 class at quarterback. Because I don't think that one would take long to wrap up. I don't think it would take too terribly long for Oklahoma to get Creed Barrett on board if they pulled the trigger. To this point, Ben Arbuckle has only offered one quarterback in the 2028 class. It's Ty Simpson's younger brother, Graham, out there in the state of Tennessee. Still pretty early. Haven't really gotten a sense one way or another of how much traction there is between OU and Graham Simpson. But Creed Barrett's a really good football player, man. To me, that's not a guy that you take out of convenience. That's not a guy that you take just because he's right down the road. I just think that's an added bonus. The kid had 38 touchdowns and 2 interceptions and won a state championship as a freshman last year.
Mm-hmm.
I love Creed Barrett.
Yeah, he's a gamer. He's a gamer for real. Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. 4-star Lost City Sooner. This one's hilarious. Parker, are you running trick plays on us with the intent to deceive?
Oh, man, honestly, The thing that's become almost as controversial on social media, almost as controversial as the play itself, is what happened in the immediate aftermath of the play, and I was unaware until hours after the fact that it was captured on camera. Ben Arbuckle apparently flipped somebody off.
Which I also don't think is that big of a deal.
It's really not. Like, it's very, very brief. It could just as well have been directed at one of his guys as it could have been the opposite. I have no idea watching that. Maybe it wasn't even intentional. I don't know. But, boy, that got a rise out of Auburn Twitter.
Speaking of Auburn, in that play, you know what I noticed in the immediate aftermath? One of Auburn's safeties completely chewing out one of his teammates. And I think it was that corner who was talking mess to Deion Burks and didn't get lined up.
Really?
Yeah. That was hilarious.
Deion Burks. He had to talk the smack to make sure Isaiah Satania's presence on the field flew under the radar, and he did his job. Credit to him. A 310 listener says, another Creed at OU? Yes, please. By the way, DJ Specs, great to meet you this past weekend. DJ Specs texted us, said, pulled up on P. Theasy this weekend.
P. Theasy.
It's the first time I've ever been called that.
P. Theasy?
But he did pull up on me this weekend. Saw him on the field. We took a picture together. Good to officially meet you, DJ Specs.
Mike S. says, can these guys run block? Boy, that's a topic.
Yes, they can run block.
Yes, they can. Yes, by the way.
Yes, they can run block.
Boy, that is a topic.
Oklahoma's current offensive linemen need to do a little bit better in the run blocking department. We know they can. We've seen it. But it was a struggle on Saturday to get the run game going.
You think, given the teams that are currently ranked ahead of Oklahoma right now in the AP, do you think Oklahoma can win a national championship and still be unable to run the ball?
No.
You and I think the same there.
Like, you have to get the running game on track if you're going to compete for a championship. It can't be all on John Mateer. And right now, that's kind of what it feels like.
They are wholly reliant upon John Mateer right now.
Yeah, and I don't know how long that strategy, that method, is going to hold up. I should say. It worked against Michigan. It worked against Auburn. At a certain point, some defensive coordinator out there, maybe Pete Kwiatkowski next conference game that OU plays, he's going to cook up something. He's going to dial up something that minimizes John Mateer's ability to run the football. Either that or the hits are just going to add up to such an extent that Mateer becomes less effective.
Well, look no further. I don't think you have to go to Pete Kwiatkowski. Look no further than what DJ Durkin did this weekend, because his defensive ends did a good job of making it hard for Mateer to escape out to his right, and they also spied him a couple of times too. And I think that led to some throwaways and inaccurate throws. Mateer only ran the ball 10 times for 29 yards.
Again, it's worked so far. It's been good enough to win.
You've survived thus far.
I don't know how long that'll be good enough to win. To win in the SEC in sustainable fashion, you have got to be able to establish a strong traditional running game. Unless you have Cam Newton. And John Mateer's a really good football player, but John Mateer's not Cam Newton.
No.
The hits are going to add up. If you noticed on Saturday, John Mateer had his knee taped and a leg sleeve over that tape. So, he's taken some damage thus far. He didn't look any less than himself on Saturday, but somewhere down the line he might. He might. Terry from Dewey wanted to know, Parker, can you please finish answering my question about what's the deal with Jaden Gibbs? Yeah, I just wouldn't expect to see him this year. I don't think he's going to play.
580 Tom says, has Oklahoma offered 2027 tight end Ben Kolar? Yes, they have.
Yes, they have.
He had a whale of a game this weekend, too.
So I heard. 186 receiving yards?
2 touchdowns, yeah.
Yep. I really like where Oklahoma sits in that recruitment as well. And to those that will ask the inevitable question, no, the fact that Oklahoma didn't recruit his older brother Charlie does not matter one bit to Ben. The Sooners look to be a very serious contender. I would go so far as to say the leader right now for Ben Kolar.
Would they take, and I know they're taking 2 in this upcoming class.
Yep.
Would they take 2 tight ends in the 2027 class because they're really high on Choctaw's Titus Hawk?
Bingo. That's where I figured you were going with that. And yes, if Oklahoma's tight end class can consist of 2 Okies in Titus Hawk and Ben Kolar, they would love for that to be the case. 405-651-3439. Keep those questions flowing on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Again, 405-651-3439. We'll hit more of your questions, comments, opinions, feedback as we continue to talk OU football and recruiting here on Locked In on the other side.
The Ref Radio Sports Network is powered statewide by the insurance adjusters at Brown O'Haver. Fire, wind, theft, or tornado, we can help. Call 405-735-5510.
Hi, Teddy Lehman here for Titan Title and Closing. And when I played for OU, I knew I could trust my teammates. And when you're making the biggest decision of your life, like selling or buying your home, you want a team you can trust. That's why you can call my teammate, Devry.
Thanks, Teddy. As one of the partners here in Norman at Titan Title and Closing, I know a thing or two about Norman. I've raised my children here, and I've been in the real estate industry for over 25 years. We work with over 25 entities that are involved in each transaction, and our team plays on both sides of the transaction to achieve a win for our realtors, lenders, builders, sellers, and buyers. When you sell your property, be sure to ask your agent to close with Titan Title and Closing here in Norman. You can contact us today at 405-689-8617. Again, that's 405-689-8617.
Drive in the fall event at Seth Wiley Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Pauls Valley for September to remember. First, we're going to give you over-market value for your trade. From now until the end of the month, get a new 2025 Ram Light Duty at 0% interest for 72 months and 2026 Ram Light Duties at 0% interest for 60 months. And remember, we have a huge selection of new Jeep and gas Rams, all priced to sell during the September to Remember Drive into fall event. Oh, and if you have any challenges, just ask for me, Joseph Dabrowski, General Manager, to help your visit be one of the best you'll have anywhere. And there's always peace of mind when you can get to school on time with Seth spending over $24 million and counting on a promise. Tell him, Seth.
That's my promise of oil changes and engines for life on new or used gas or diesel at no additional cost to you.
So get to the store with more at Seth Wiley Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, I-35, exit 72 in Pauls Valley, or click SethWileyDodge.com.
0% APR for 60 months on all 2026 Ram 1500s, excludes RHOs. Must finance with Stellantis, operating September 30, 2025.
Norman mornings start at Neighborhood Jam. Whether you're craving sweet or savory, classic pancakes or chorizo burritos, we've got breakfast covered. Open 6:30 to 2:30 daily. Join the wait list on Yelp before you arrive.
Neighborhood Jam on Main Street in Norman. Brunch that brings good vibes every time. Start your day with the Jam, your local breakfast destination. Tune in every Friday to hear more about the Hal Smith Restaurant Group during The Rush and the Dari Noka Show here on The Ref.
Yo, I'm your old basketball. Haven't seen you out on the courts in a while. Why not pass me over to Goodwill? Donating me helps Goodwill's mission to provide career training and support services right here in the community. And that's a slam dunk. Donate today. Hey, I got next.
To find your nearest Goodwill locations and to learn more about our mission, please visit goodwill.org. Goodwill, where your things start new lives.
Wounded Warrior Project helps post-9/11 veterans and their families realize what's possible. With support and resources that bring warriors together and empower them to become stronger, both inside and out.
It's possible to begin healing.
To get the help you need.
To find peace. And as each warrior's needs evolve, so do we. Because these last 20 years are just the beginning. Learn more at woundedwarriorproject.org/possible.
Hi, I'm Ashton and I'm with the nonprofit Fostering Futures. Every day, children are removed from their homes due to abuse and neglect. In these critical moments, we step in to support these vulnerable kids. We work alongside child welfare workers to meet the essential needs of safety, stability, and healthy connections, as well as providing enrichment opportunities. But we can't do this important work without your support. Consider donating at fosteringfuturesok.org. Together, we can offer children a brighter future.
(405-651-3439) is how you tap in with us here on the show. That is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. You're listening to Locked In on the Ref. Parker Thune alongside Grayson Singleton. Sooners, number 7 in the nation. After knocking off Auburn over the weekend, it is their highest ranking, Mr. Singleton, since they beat Texas in 2023, at which point they vaulted all the way to number 6 in the country. In my mind, I thought it was higher after that game because they were 7-0 after beating UCF. I thought they got higher than 6th, but apparently that was as high as they got. Oklahoma, once again, as of today in the AP poll, the number 7 team in America. Hey, I guess we should probably address it, and no doubt we'll have the chance tomorrow to talk in much greater detail about the 2027 schedule because we will know it in its entirety. But what do you think of the 3 annual opponents?
First of all, we do have a super chat on the YouTube, but we can get to that in a second.
Yes, Missouri, Ole Miss, Texas. Those are the 3 not permanent. I have to keep reminding myself not to say permanent. 3 annual opponents for Oklahoma at least for the next 4 years.
We can say permanent. I think that's okay. But everybody knows what we're talking about. To me, I was underwhelmed.
Really?
I just wasn't that excited about it. I still would have liked to see Texas A&M in there and or LSU. Missouri in there, I feel better about it today given the fact that, by the way, both you and I, Parker, at the beginning of the year left Missouri for dead. I mean, we thought that was going to be a bad football team, and, you can't say enough about the coaching job that Eli Drinkwitz has done with that program. But Missouri, okay, cool, I get it. There's some animosity between the fan bases, so that will make it interesting. Ole Miss, I just didn't get what the intrigue is. There's not much of a there is no historical relationship between those two. They've only played each other twice. And it's not as if it's the closest proximity destination. So I don't really understand what the conference was getting at there. Missouri, Texas, cool. I would have liked to see something that would be more box office. To me, LSU would have fit that bill, as would A&M.
I don't hate it. Kind of knew Missouri was happening. That was pretty obvious. Obviously, Texas was never going anywhere. They were going to be one of Oklahoma's 3 annual opponents. I was a little surprised by Ole Miss. I honestly was hoping for Arkansas or LSU, but could have done a lot worse than Ole Miss. Boy, I would much rather have Ole Miss annually, just for the sake of proximity and that venue and the competitiveness of that series than, I don't know, at Vanderbilt, Kentucky, South Carolina. It could be worse. It could be worse. Is it elite? Is it as good as it could have been? No, but it could be a lot worse.
I did think the SEC dropped the ball not having Alabama and Georgia as annual opponents. You have to remember that before last year's game, when those two played each other, they hadn't played in the regular season in 11 years, and that game was a classic last year.
It was, man.
Slugfest. I don't understand. I do not understand for the life of me. And if Dari could shine some light on this later in the week or something, I would love it, because I think they missed a huge opportunity for that.
Back to the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. A 405 listener says, status of Jaden Ott. Injury doghouse or just passed up on the depth chart? Jaden Ott played 0 snaps on Saturday.
That was wild.
0 snaps. And to me, here's the thing. If he's just not good enough to see the field, which is kind of the sense I've gotten, then fine. Okay, it was a bad investment. It happens. Live and learn. Move on. At least it's an investment that's only going to affect your roster for 1 year. Jaden Ott was a 1-year rental. He won't be around in 2026, is what it is. But here's where this has the potential to become very, very costly for Oklahoma in terms of the poor investment that it seems to have been. We just talked about it last segment. What's the weakness right now for Oklahoma?
They cannot run the ball to save their life.
And isn't this what Jaden Ott was supposed to do? Isn't this who Jaden Ott was supposed to be?
Mm-hmm.
He was supposed to be the guy that came in and transformed Oklahoma's backfield. He was supposed to be the guy that came in and didn't need everything blocked up perfectly, didn't need an elite offensive front, because he's just a playmaker. He can make something out of nothing. He can squeeze through those creases. He can break arm tackles. He can keep those legs churning. He can find his way to open grass and help Oklahoma keep the chains moving. And he hasn't been that. Does Oklahoma have that guy right now in the backfield? Does Oklahoma have a true difference maker? I love Torrey Blaylock as much as the next guy. But is the true freshman of Torrey Blaylock a true difference maker, or is he just a good, solid SEC running back? To me, if Oklahoma continues to struggle on the ground and Jaden Ott is still not involved or still very minimally involved, that's where I think this whole thing could loom very large by November or so. If Oklahoma gets the ground game whipped into shape with Blaylock and Barnes and Xavier Robbins and Taylor Tatum, then fine. It's all water under the bridge at this point. If you're running the ball effectively, I genuinely don't care who's carrying the rock. I do not care one bit. If your run game is working, it can be Taylor Tatum getting 25 carries a game. It can be Xavier Robinson getting that many carries. It could be Javonte Barnes leading the charge. Whatever. As long as your run game is effective, personnel is of little consequence to me. But and that it should be the case for everyone in that regard.
Yeah.
But if you're still struggling to run the ball by the midpoint of the season, certainly by the midpoint of SEC play, then boy, if the discourse surrounding Jaden Ott isn't toxic enough already, it's going to get really, really toxic at that point.
Well, I'm surprised it's not toxic already, because it's not as if this is a conspicuous or a weakness that you can't really see. This is a glaring weakness. Anybody who just watches one quarter of Oklahoma football can see that, they can't run the ball. And you've tried it with Blaylock, and he's had his moments. You've tried it with Barnes. You probably have seen the ceiling with Javonte. You've tried it with Tatum last year. Maybe you give him a run again and see if he can hold on to the ball. But at what point do you at least try it with Jaden Ott? That's the thing to me. And a texter brought this up, and sorry for the lack of attribution here because I lost the text. But Teddy, during the broadcast, multiple times was like, there's holes there. They're just not hitting the right ones they're supposed to hit. At what point, if that is the case, do you not at least try Jaden Ott and see if he can take advantage of what's being presented in front of him? I think you at least, I'm not going to say you owe it to the dude, because obviously everything's earned, but I feel like you got to at least try it. You put a heck of a lot of money into this investment. At least run him out there and see what he brings. To me, that's the way I'm looking at it. By the way, let's get to the super chat real fast.
Yes, let's do it.
Sooner Maw 5 says on the YouTube chat, how many players do you expect to sit out for Kent State, and how many do you think we get back for Texas?
Very few will sit out against Kent State. I mean, Eli Bowen and Giovanni Gibson are back. I don't know what's going to happen on the practice field in terms of bumps and bruises over the next couple of weeks, but I expect that the injury report, and we won't get an official availability report because it's not a conference game.
Yep.
But there will be very minimal there will be a very minimal list of unavailable players for the Kent State game. Dan in Madison says, if I'm BV, I bring in Arbuckle, the running back coach, and Jaden Ott, and I say, this is your game, Kent State. We're giving you 20 carries. You get it done. You'll be the man from here on out. You need to practice like it and prepare to play like it. If you don't, you might as well pack your bags up now and head out because we don't need you. Now, Windhorst meme time. Jaden Ott didn't play at all on Saturday. Didn't even return kicks. He'd been back there on kick return all year until Saturday. Why is that? Because I think there's a lot of merit to what you're saying there, Dan. I think Kent State might be the last hurrah for Jaden Ott, in a sense, where they do finally make an effort to get him in a rhythm and they give him a ton of carries. And if it works, it works. But if it doesn't, he has only played 4 games. And he can shut it down the rest of the year and try again in 2026, whether at Oklahoma or elsewhere. To me, why else is the guy not back there returning kicks on Saturdays? Or on this past Saturday? To me, it suggests that there's a lot riding on the Kent State game for Jaden Ivey. And it will ultimately be deterministic as to what the rest of his 2025 campaign looks like as an Oklahoma Sooner. We shall see. All right, folks. Teddy Lehman and Tyler McComas have 3 more hours of OU football talk ahead. So do not go anywhere. The rush is coming up. But for now, for us, that's going to do it for this installment of Locked In. For Grayson Singleton, I'm Parker Thune. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place.